Hey, good morning, caregivers. How are you today? I hope you are all doing really, really well. I wanted to share this with you today because over the weekend, and we watched it not in one sitting, so that's why it was over the weekend. We watched Ben Affleck's new movie, The Accountant 2, and I think that it's a good movie. It's got some mixed things. I have some mixed reviews, but it's a good movie for people raising kids and adults on the autism spectrum to watch. And I also wanted to talk about the possibilities presented in that movie. Are they real? Are they not real? And where do we go from here? So one of the reasons, if you've ever seen the first movie, The Accountant, you know that Ben Affleck plays an autistic man who is gifted at numbers, and he's also uses them in a criminal manner. Okay, he uses his skills in a criminal manner. So this is the sequel. I don't remember that much about the first movie. I remember a little bit. The scene in the office room where he's got all the numbers on all the walls. I think this sequel is a better movie, and I really liked the ending. But before you watch it, you need to know that it's an R-rated movie. It's not appropriate for kids, in my opinion. It's violent, but a lot of movies are violent. That's not necessarily a deal breaker for me, but it is, some of the violence is graphic. There's certain things in there that I'm like, I just don't care for that. And there's one or two scenes, like the motorcycle scene, I thought was a little ridiculous. But it is a good movie in general in terms of plot. And what's really, that I put out on my feed, that's really great, is that you see in the first movie that this, I think her name is Justine. Justine is this computer voice that helps Ben Affleck's character do all the research that he needs because, well, in the first movie they hire him to help him on a financial criminal case. And Justine is this voice that gives him all the information, and you're not sure if it's AI or what, but it's actually a person. And in this movie, we get to actually meet Justine, and she is a non-speaker. She is clearly autistic. She clearly has level 2 or level 3 autism. She stims a lot in the movie. I think the actress did a great job. So, hi Fox. So that is one aspect of it. They show you now. The character is probably in her 30s, maybe 40s, and they show you her using a speller board. So if you know the program Spell to Communicate, she's probably learned Spell to Communicate, or at her age, it probably would have been RPM when she was younger, depending on when she learned. So this is a Spell to Communicate is the program you would likely use now. It's a real program. It's kind of very involved. It's not just that it teaches someone with verbal disability to spell and communicate and eventually have a AI type speaker for them. It's also it's a program designed for people who have apraxia. Now, apraxia is when you are speaking in your head and you cannot get those thoughts out of your mouth or out of your fingers typing. Like, you can't do either. So you're kind of trapped with your thoughts. You're an intelligent person, but the world does not believe that you are intelligent or cognizant because you are unable to speak. As the mother of a child with a verbal disability, we have experienced prejudice against her inability to speak since she was a child. I always thought Zoe had standard age-appropriate intelligence, but she was always pinned as low IQ. Not that she could ever take an IQ test, but because she may have a type of apraxia that she can't actually complete. She can write a little bit, but she can't completely verbalize and have a conversation with typing. Not clearly enough. So Spell to Communicate is a kind of tool that teaches caregivers how to teach their nonverbal charges how to speak. So the main character in this, one of the main characters in this movie is this lady Justine. She is a nonverbal autistic person. I don't have to tell you that, you can tell. And absolutely brilliant. And so she works at this kind of organization that is like a cover. It's they build themselves as, oh, we're a neurobiological institute. But what they really are is it's Justine, and I believe it was for young adults, teenage people, that what they do is they go and they can research anything. They can hack anything. They have all these keyboard skills. I mean, like very high level keyboard skills. I'm talking about programming and hacking and computer engineering keyboard skills. I'm not trying to dumb it down. So Ben Affleck uses Justine, who then enrolls her team. Like, you never knew she had a team in the first movie. She has this team of kids, and they, like older teens. And they, this one doesn't speak, this one wears the headphones, this one, you know that they're all on the spectrum to some degree, as she and Ben Affleck's character are. And so she deploys them to do the research he needs. Now, the questionable, so they're working with a Fed. The character's name just slipped my mind. Anyway, they're working with a Fed, and this woman is like, Ben Affleck teams up with his non-neurotypical brother, and they have a very high friction relationship. They haven't seen each other in 8 years, since the last movie, I guess. And but his brother is a hitman. And so Ben Affleck and his brother, and this also has to do with the way they were raised, that's covered in the first movie, they don't have any qualms about committing crimes, especially if they're trying to get to a solution. And in this movie, they are trying to find a Mexican immigrant family that came here and was basically immediately trafficked. And now that I've said that, what's great about the movie is it's not political at all. It's not political at all. I mean, this is actually something that does happen to illegal immigrants quite frequently. There's no politics in it. But it's a lot of moral questions about, is it right to break the law? And I don't mean just break the law. I mean invade people's privacy and kill people and beat them up. People who are not necessarily good people, or people who are just unsuspecting. So they hack the woman, like she's unsuspecting, and like they do violate her privacy. Is that worth it to try to find this family and what became of them? Now this family was also lost like 8 years before. So we're talking about 3 people who disappeared 8 years ago, right? So it's very interesting. It's well written. Like I said, there's a few scenes, like the motorcycle, him driving the motorcycle. That was just like, I thought that was a little bit stupid. But it is really good. It's cleverly written. And, I kind of had some reservations about teaching children or young people who struggle with a kind of executive functioning and struggle with literal thinking and morality like people who are on the spectrum do. I mean, we all struggle with it. I'm not trying to block them out, but like you see Ben Affleck's character and his brother is like, why didn't you ever contact me, call me, don't you care about me? And Ben Affleck can't really react to that because it's like not how I mean, he's compassionately written, like, that's just not how his brain processes. But it's a little bit of a thing. Hi, Bonnie. Hi, Iva. It's a little bit of a thing for me to see them using these kids. I said using. My friend didn't like that I said the word using, to commit acts of crime, even, and it's the question of, right? If you are in law enforcement, where is the line, right? And so the Fed, where is the line of committing acts to get to justice or to solve a mystery or to save a life, right? And so that's that character. Now, the Fed character, to their credit, she never moves from her. In the beginning, she gets roped in, and hi, Margaret, she doesn't like what they're doing. So she never really moves from her moral ground, even though in the beginning she just finds it distasteful and she's a little concerned about it. And then she's like, no, this is immoral. This is not the right way to go about investigation. And so that is very much a part of the movie, and she never really, she really remains moral and stops working with them because they're immoral. They're doing all these things. They're violating privacy, and they're violating constitutional amendments, and they're beating people up and killing people. And so in that, the complexity of it, that's another thing that makes it a really good movie. It's very complex, and the ending is like, it's good. It's really good, but you do have to question. So for me, like, would I want my child to have the opportunity to have this brilliant, amazing job, and yet know that the whole time she's doing that job, she is actually violating laws left and right? And as a Christian, I could not, because that is, the Bible does say you have to obey the law unless it conflicts with God's law, right? And so it's a mixed bag for me. I did like, that said, however, I can't recall any other movie where a speller was prominently featured in a positive manner, in a full capacity of intelligence and understanding, and it really demonstrated. There are spellers who cannot speak a word because, I guess, of apraxia and other conditions. They cannot speak a word, but they can communicate, and they are intelligent, and they can work and own businesses and do advocacy and create organizations, and they're just as intelligent as anyone else. It's just that they have this barrier, a barrier which is often looked at prejudicially as a lack of intelligence. First time I ever wrote a blog post about it, I believe Zoe was about 8 years old, and she is 19. So she might have even been 6 at the time, honestly. It is a real problem that when we see someone who cannot communicate like we can, we assume that they are intellectually stunted. And that was a really great thing about this movie. It was funny because Chris and I were laughing about, hey, look, Zoe, that could be your future. So I thought that part of it had us really cracking up. Look, Zoe, a job just for you. And I think we need to think about the possibilities, right? We need to have hope for our kids. Just because they can't communicate in the traditional ways, we as caregivers need to find other ways for them to communicate. And it's not easy because, honestly, the Spell to Communicate program, it's complicated. They actually used to have a parent training and they took it away. But there is Type to Communicate, which was crafted by a non-speller, and it is training, and you can do that training. And I don't even think it costs anything. You just need to buy the boards. Like if you watch, there's a video that shows you start with the 3 boards, the 1 board, then the typing device, and you can go all the way up to having an automated system. So I think it's important that when we think about that, and when I lived, there's no spell to communicate trainers here. You can hire a trainer. There was one near Allentown, Pennsylvania when I lived up there, and she was $150 an hour for one child. So, because I think both my kids would benefit, but it's something I would have to do myself at that. There's no one down here, even if I had the money. And that's an awful lot of money. On top of whatever else you're doing for them, like we are doing a protocol right now, and the protocol is 2 bottles a month for the first 4 months. So they were normally $99 a pop, so $200 a month on top of whatever else we're doing, right? So those two things I think would work in hand great, but I haven't gotten the time and the space and the everything I need to do the spell to communicate. So what's my point? If you are okay watching a violent R-rated movie, I know some aren't, but if you are okay with that, I would highly recommend you watch Accountant 2 if you are caring for someone on the spectrum, because it is one of the first movies that really shows them in such a positive light and shows that there is a possibility for integration in a way into society. I personally think, after having had a child on the spectrum in school for 15 years, that asking community to change for my child it's never going to happen completely and perfectly and the way we want it to. And we should advocate for a society to be more accepting all the time. We should always advocate for that. But we also need to be proactive on finding ways for them to fit in a manner that does not injure them or harm them. So it's just my 2 cents. Definitely watch it. It's on Amazon Prime. Let's see, what else can I say? It's Ben Affleck, and it's, my husband knows his name, the other actor, John something or other. He was like in the first season of Walking Dead, and he's the Punisher. He's the guy who played the Punisher a couple of years ago. And who else is in it? Oh, I don't really know the actress who played I've seen her before. I just don't know her name, who played the federal agent. That's it. So go ahead, check it out. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've read Spellers or watched the movie Spellers. I think you definitely need to watch that movie and or read the book. I read the book. I was fortunate enough to get a pass for my family to go see the movie. It is the one movie you can bring your autistic child to that no one cared. Because everyone in the audience had an autistic child. So that was awesome. And I was lucky enough to get to see Honey and Vince Rinsella. Vince is a non-speaker who is he has created an autism advocacy organization. He learned to speak through a typewriter, through spell to communicate. And there were a couple other people who were featured in the book or the movie who were also there. And they were spelling to communicate, or they had speaker systems or typing systems, which are all part of the spell to communicate process and series. So, which was awesome because we had a great Q&A at the end of it. And definitely see those movies, see that movie Speller, but watch Accountant 2. Let me know what you think. Again, it's on Amazon Prime. And I'm pretty impressed that they did it. They did a good job on it. It was just a straightforward story, no politics. It was just, how do we find this family? And then the ending was really nice. The ending was very, I highly approve of the ending. So, you all have a great day. I'm going to probably come on Wednesday and do my normal weekly talk. So, if you have any burning questions that you would like me to cover on Wednesday, please let me know. And I will talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye.